Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead on Porch Time today. Yep guys, it's another hot one. Looks like we're not going to be able to get away from that for quite some time now. We're actually having August weather at the end of June here. The locusts are hollering and stuff that we normally don't get till mid-August, and the days, the way they're acting, check my weather records, and so this is August weather, so I hope that's not a sign of how long this summer is going to last. So, but anyway, that's not what it's about today. Today, I want to talk about how I cope. I want to mention that I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of letters from people sent in the mail, and thank y'all for those. It gives me something to read. Thank you for your encouragement. Many of you talk about how encouraging it is to listen to Porch Time and some of the other things that we do here at Deep South Homestead, and how we're an inspiration to you, and how it makes your life better, where you're able to actually cope with things a lot easier. And thank you for that. And that's kind of what I want to talk a little bit about today, is how I cope. Because you see, I was perfectly healthy up until 2008. I started having some physical issues. I was running a business, construction company, had a wife with cancer, and building houses, and my health started kind of deteriorating on me. I started blacking out while I was driving and stuff like that, and didn't know what was going on. Then later, at the end of 2009, I ended up having to shut my business down in order to take care of my wife. And you know, she passed, and then when she did, about 4 months later, my health really broke down. And you know, it just seemed to escalate from that point on. I started having one physical issue after another. But you know, the whole thing about it was I still kept my farm going most of the time. There was a period of a couple of years that I moved out to take care of my parents. As y'all seen in my other videos, they were falling, and my mom had asked me that since I was single, could I come out and help make the house handicap accessible for them and all, and help with Dad, you know, picking him up and helping him do what he needs to do, and I did that. But I even gardened when I was there, you know, so I never really quit, even though my health was getting a little worse. But you know, coping with things that happen is really important, and how every person copes is going to be different. Now, me personally, I can't get out because I had heat exhaustion at one point on one of my jobs, so I can't get out anymore in the heat like I used to. I can feel it coming on, and I know that if I push beyond a certain point, I'm screwed for the rest of the day, maybe even 2-3 days, and it's really bad on me. And it happened here just a couple of days ago. It happened to me 2 days in a row, and I knew better, but we have so much stuff coming in, and I'm canning so much stuff with Wanda that I don't want to lose anything, and I kept pushing myself and ended up with heat exhaustion again. And it's down for a couple of days almost, you know. Had to stay inside, could not go back out. Even right at dark, I could venture out a little bit, but I couldn't really do anything hardly. So you have to really pay attention to what your body tells you. That's rule number one. Listen to your body, because your body will tell you when enough is enough, and don't keep pushing it. Because I'm one of them that, you know, I guess you might say I'm a little bit hard-headed, and then I keep pushing, and then I really regret it later, because it really messes me up. And you know, so listen to what your body tells you. But let me say this, don't give up. Because giving up is the worst thing that you could possibly ever do. Stay active as much as possible. That's what I do. And I know on our channel it looks like we accomplish a lot, and we do. But it's because I've learned how to do things. I've learned when to do things during the day. Like for instance, we get up, to us, sleep is not the most important thing in our life. We do get sleep, but it's not the most important thing. Right now, in the summer months, we're up, or I'm up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and usually by 4:30 to 5 o'clock, somewhere in that area, I'll have breakfast fixed, and I get Wanda up and we eat, and by 5:30, between 5:30, no later than 6, we're out the door and we're busting it, because we know that the morning temps are not going to last very long here. And we push to pick, weed, you know, whatever we got to do, plant, whatever we got to do, we push like crazy. And then about, depending on what point in the year it is, it's the 1st of July coming up here now, probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to be inside unless it's cloudy and windy. Because we don't go beyond that, we done learned. And when we come in, what we'll do is we'll spend the rest of the day shelling, canning, and doing stuff like that on the inside where we're cool at. And then about, it gets dark about 8:30, so we'll go back out about 7, between 6 and 7, depending on how cloudy it is and how windy it is, and whether it's rained or not. Usually around 7, we'll go back out and we'll work till dark. And that's the routine that we pretty much keep until the fall starts coming on and the days begin to get a little bit cooler. Then we'll stay out 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, depending on how cool the days get, until it finally, in the wintertime, we can a lot of times stay out all day and do things. But we do save some canning to do in the wintertime when it's so cold outside that we can't get out and really do much of anything. If we're going to heat the house up with a canner, then we go ahead and just heat the house up, you know, with it, and just do our canning in the wintertime on some things, especially things like sweet potatoes and any kind of fall stuff like that, because, you know, they don't usually come in during the summer months. So that's one of the other ways that we do things, is figuring out what times of the day we can do what, and figuring our schedules out in order to be able to keep things rolling here. Now, we plant a lot of different varieties of stuff for us to eat, and we try not to overload ourselves. Like, we'll pick one day where we do water bath stuff. We may have tomatoes, figs, apples, all those kind of things water bath, and that's what we'll do that day, is we'll water bath that day. We'll try to schedule all those things, berries, jellies, or jams, or anything like that. We try to go ahead and get all that stuff on a day when we're water bathing, because the water bath canner is already full of water, it's already hot, and if we can keep stuff rolling just ahead of it when it comes out, we can just keep putting stuff right back into it, and we can keep rolling that way. And then we have days where we do nothing but pressure can. And those days we can get sometimes 4 to 5 canners a day, just simply because it takes so long for that thing to cool down in order to open it back up. But by the time we open it, we usually have the jars ready to just start piling stuff right back in it, and we go again with it. So those are the ways that we work our schedules out here. And we try our best to take care of our bodies as much as possible. Now, we do container gardening, we do raised bed gardening, we do some row crop gardening. Depending on what we're growing, will depend on what goes where, and it kind of helps us to be able to not bend over as much in our, now that we've gotten older. We do a lot more container gardening than we used to do, because we can take our benches and just sit down, and the plants are right at waist level when we sit down. It's perfect. It's like sitting at a table and eating, you know. I mean, they're just right there where you can work on them, you can pick them. We don't really have to do much stooping anymore we try to work through those type of things. And mainly we go by weather. You know, if we know that it's going to rain, say at dinner time or something like that, because we have clouds moving in, then we will work in the garden doing planting that day if we know we have things that needs planting. Or if we need something that needs picking before the rain, we try to get in there and get it picked and get out before the rain gets there. And it's just things like that, guys, is what I'm talking about. Is how do I cope with things? How do I cope with the heat? That's how I cope with the heat. How do I cope with cold weather? We just work harder in the wintertime. We bundle up, we get out there, and we do a lot more greenhouse stuff in the wintertime in the greenhouse, because in there it stays 80 to 90 degrees most of the time. I can open the doors and I can fluctuate the temperature in there to where I can bring it down to 60 or 70, whatever I need to bring it down to. I can do that. And I can spend a lot of my time in the greenhouse working in the wintertime, so that we're not out in the extreme colds, you know, having to bear those elements in. And if it's cold and rainy or something like that, then I'm able to do that in the greenhouse. So this is what I'm trying to tell you, is don't give up. There's hope, even if you have physical issues. I have multiple physical issues. I've been broken all to pieces. Most every bone in my body has been broken. And I have tons of arthritis. I have all these issues that I deal with on a daily basis, you know, heat exhaustion, bad back, bad knees. You know, I have all these things, bad heart, stomach issues, intestinal issues, whatever. I have all this kind of problems, just like a lot of other people. And I don't give up. I keep going. I keep pushing. I just try to find alternative methods to, you know, to make things work. And I think that the problem with a lot of people is that they just don't have the encouragement that they need to keep going. And that's one of the things here at Deep South Homestead I try to do, is I do try to be an encouragement to people, because it's important that we have good food in order for our bodies, even though they're damaged already, in order for them to be able to last as long as we need them to last, we need to be putting good food in them. And when you get bad food from the stores all the time, and you never really give your body any good food for energy and to allow your cells to rebuild and stuff like that, then, you know, it gets kind of tough to rebuild a body when you have bad stuff going into it all the time. So if you can only raise a few plants, you know, to get a few tomatoes, stuff that's pretty much easy to grow, tomatoes and peppers and, you know, some stuff with some herbs in some pots and some containers. You can get dwarf fruit trees like we talked about. You can get lemons and oranges, and you can get the miniature apples now that's dwarfed down. You can get dwarf peaches. You can get dwarf pears. They're a little bit more expensive, but you know what, guys? Sometimes just being able to go out and pick something off of your plant that you grew does something to you psychologically. It makes you feel better on the inside. It gives you a sense of hope. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And that's why here at Deep South Homestead, I don't want to ever give up gardening if I can help it. I know that day will come, and I don't look forward to it. But at the same time, I want to be able to do all I can do as long as I can do it. I want to keep pushing forward. I want to keep trying to set my place up so that if I'm in a wheelchair, let's say, I can still wheel along next to something and I can do something. I have a block wall out here in front of me I have built on purpose. It's up, you know, about 20 inches high, and it's got dirt behind it. Right now it's got flowers in it, but the plan is the day that I get where I can't do anything, if I have to be in a wheelchair or something like that because my arthritis has gotten so bad, my body's just gotten in such bad shape that, you know, someone can get me out there I might can roll along that wall and just reach over, and if don't do nothing but just put a tomato plant in the ground, or a pepper plant, or plant a few seeds and stick a stick in the ground for them to grow up on, or something to that nature, it'll give me a sense of accomplishment and make me feel like that I'm useful. And I sit back and watch my parents, I guess is what it was. They made no plans for their future in that aspect. And I sat and watched how they just dwindled away. They were sad that they didn't do these things, and they thought about them, but it was too late. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to enjoy the life that I have as long as I have it. And I want to be able to be an encouragement to you to be able to enjoy your life as long as you have the help to do anything, whether it's just something small and, you know, maybe a tomato plant in a pot or something like that. Something that you can watch it grow. I know I have a very dear friend, a young lady from New York that I sent some tomato seeds from, that's in a wheelchair, and she grew those tomatoes, her and her mother, and she talked about how that you know, the variety was perfect for her area. I'd done some research and picked a variety, and how that they picked them, and they had more than enough for themselves. They gave some away, and they were planting right along the edge of the sidewalks, and she had them there where she could get to them. She had her a little mini greenhouse, and she was able to grow some of the peppers and stuff. I sent her some different varieties of tomatoes in there. I sent her, and that literally, no one will ever know what that done for me. To know that that person, you know, in their shape, saw some joy in life from something that I helped them accomplish. And to this day, I love this person, you know, with my whole heart. And I cherish their friendship. And that's what this channel means to me and to Wanda. And this is why we do what we do. We're not out here, guys. I'm not like other YouTubers. You know, I'm not out here trying to bust my butt for views. You know, what you see here at Deep South Homestead is real. We don't create anything to make content. When we get up in the morning, there's lots of times, or during the day, that we don't even carry the camera with us, and we get out there and we go, "Dadgum, we should have brought the camera." And we go, "Well, I'm not going back to the house." You know, I mean, lots of things just go unfilmed. But there's lots of days we're doing something, and I'll look at one and I go, you know, people probably need to know this. And we'll go out and we'll film something. We just set the camera up, and we don't try to act anything out. We just do what we do. If we're hoeing or if we're picking, whatever we're doing, it's just what we're going to do regardless. We don't try to make it appealing or camera perfect, or we don't try to make things aesthetic. We don't try to wear the, you know, like me, I got my work shirt on right now. It's drooping, it's been wet and sweaty and everything. I don't try to put on perfect looking clothes. I'm not trying to make my hair perfect. I don't want, you know, if that's what you're after, you're watching my channel for the wrong reason, because that's not who we are. And I probably am one of a few out there that feels this way. Because everywhere I look, all I see is people making videos, especially homesteaders. And I'm not picking on any one particular homesteader, but I see a lot of homesteaders that really put up very little content as far as being beneficial. Their thumbnails and their titles and stuff like that are just, I guess it's the way you get views. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that kind of person. You know, I mean, I'm trying to teach. And every now and then I'll do a silly one, you know, something to just bring some joy into something. That's what the live streams are all about for us. It's about having fun. Getting the community together. Let's just have a good time. But now when we make videos, other than something like Porch Time or when we sit down to do our meals, I try to answer questions because I feel like that I owe that to y'all. And if I can answer it, I'll answer it. If I can't, I'll tell you I don't know. But like porch time here, I'll sit down, and porch time to me, the reason I do it is to be an encouragement and to teach. That's my whole reason behind porch time. That's it in a nutshell. I love to encourage people. I love teaching people. I love seeing people succeed at what they do. I don't care if you become better than me. I'm happy for you. I'm not going to become aggravated or angry if someone excels faster than I do, or they excel or do a better garden than I do. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, thank God, yes, somebody has figured it out and you're able to do a good job at it. To me, that's what it's all about. I'm not trolling other channels, trying to gain subscribers and stuff like that. I don't do that. In the beginning, when I first started this channel, I went over to other channels and I'd make comments so that people knew we existed, because we were new. But I don't have to do that anymore. We've gotten to a point where God's been good to us. He's blessed us because we're doing it for the right reasons, I believe. And I look back and I'm sitting here going through my computer every day trying to find homesteading channels that's talking about the weather, the solar minimums, the Malter minimums, the Dalton minimums, you know, the ice age, all these things, the coronal mass ejections that's happening in the weather, you know, all of this stuff. I'm trying to find other YouTubers that's talking about it, and there's nobody out there. They're like off in fairyland somewhere. I don't know what's going on. And guys, this is important stuff. It's your future. It's my future. It's the future of our children. If we don't learn now how to survive, how will our children survive? They'll not know what to do or how to do it if somebody don't take time to teach them that when the weather changes, you have to change. Here at Deep South Homestead, we're planting different varieties because some of our older varieties are not working in this weather. So I'm having to look into different varieties, and when I find them, hey, I'm going to tell you about them. You know, we have a variety of peas now that we found. Our pink-eyed purple hulls have been just getting eat up by aphids, or some people call them lice or whatever, and they're just destroying the crops. But down here in one of my fields, I've got red ripper peas planted. Those things are going crazy. I've done absolutely nothing to them other than get the grass out of them. No aphids. The peas are doing fantastic. The heat's not affecting them. Nothing is bothering them. They're just rocking and rolling. So you know what? Red River peas is high on my list from peas from now on. So you have to understand that homesteading channels should be talking about current events in the weather. We should be working with y'all through these things, and that's what I'm doing. I spend lots of hours doing research on this weather anomaly that we're facing, and how the weather's changing the way you garden. I'm trying to offer advice that I find out, because I try it first usually, and it seems like that even though I'm a veteran and I'm seasoned at this, it's getting harder and harder for me to predict what is going to happen anymore, because the weather's just become so crazy. And I see very few homesteaders out there doing anything that I say is working. In other words, I see a lot of people going, oh, I reach out, oh, I eat this, or I do that. Well, show me your results. That's what it's all about with me. Now, I do see some YouTube channels out there that's homesteaders that's showing me how they plant their stuff. They're showing me how it's growing, and they're showing me results. And I'm telling you what, I'm not going to call any names, but I go back and I watch them over and over and over to see what they're doing for their area, so that if somebody from that area asks me on my channel, and they say, I'm from such and such an area, and I go, well, you have a YouTuber in that area who's doing fantastic at what they do. Here's what they do, you know. go watch their channel. I never discourage anybody from going and watching another YouTube channel that's successful. I will discourage someone from watching channels that I feel like are not teaching the truth. You know, I will do that. But, you know, how do I cope? That's how I cope. You know, I mean, I'm sitting out here right now. The heat index right now is 105. Believe it or not. And it is 6:48 in the afternoon. Yes! This is not Tuesday morning. I am actually shooting this ahead of time. Anybody that has any sense knows. I have to edit this video. I have to upload this video. And I have to schedule it. I have all these things to do. So yes, I do my videos ahead of time a lot of times. So, guys, I guess I've been going long enough. I just want to give you a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of hope. And I pray that that today on Porch Time I've been able to do that, and a little bit, and just encourage you and tell you why I do Porch Time. It's for you guys. You know, I wanna be a blessing to y'all. I want to see you succeed at what you do. And if I have any answers that can help you, that is my desire. So, with that being said, thank y'all for watching Porch Time today, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you from Deep South Homestead.